You water them, you give them light, you even bought the expensive soil, and still, your balcony plants just keep dying. When a leaf turns brown, our reflex is usually to do more. We pour on extra water, push it further into the sun, or dump in fertilizer, hoping that sheer effort will bring the plant back to life. But plants don't die from a lack of effort. They die from an underlying imbalance. Your plants aren't failing randomly. Your system is. Out in a yard, plants tap into a massive, self-regulating earth network. But a balcony is a highly constrained, artificial environment. You're asking a plant to survive in an isolated box, suspended in midair on a slab of concrete. If you treat that space like a natural piece of the earth, you'll be trapped in a constant cycle of replacing dead greenery. To fix it, you have to look at your balcony differently. You have to analyze it as a tiny ecosystem. Let's look at the first variable in that system, light. You might step outside and think your balcony gets plenty of sun just because it looks bright to you. But human eyes are terrible judges of what a plant actually needs. Look at this sun path. A south-facing balcony receives harsh, direct energy, while a north-facing unit sits in permanent shadow. Put a full sun plant in that shadow and it starves. Put a delicate herb on the southern side and it scorches. The biological plant didn't let you down. Your spatial placement of the plant within your balcony's specific light geometry did. Then there's water. This is the most common failure point of all, because most balcony gardens die from drowning, not thirst. In a traditional garden, physics works in your favor. Gravity pulls excess rain deep into the earth, pulling fresh air down behind it. Inside a typical balcony container, gravity pulls the water down, but instead of draining away, it hits a plastic wall and pools. As roots sit submerged, oxygen plummets to zero. Without air, the roots physically rot and shut down. This creates a deceptive feedback loop. Because those rotting roots can no longer transport moisture, the top of the plant looks parched and wilted. You see a dry leaf, you add more water, and you unknowingly finish the job. This trap is usually triggered by what you put inside the pot. That rich, heavy garden soil that looks so good in a flower bed naturally compacts in a container, turning into a dense mass that locks moisture in. Healthy roots require a precise balance of water and air. If you pack dense soil into a closed container, you aren't planting a garden, you're building a suffocation trap. Even if you master the light and the water, there is a third force at play. Your balcony is a microclimate, a tiny, localized weather system dictated entirely by the architecture around it. Look at this thermal map. Concrete floors and brick walls act as thermal batteries, radiating heat back out to artificially bake your plants. Glass partitions warp natural breezes into hostile wind tunnels, and hot metal railings sear resting foliage right off the stem. Because of these architectural forces, no two balconies in the exact same building operate the same way. Copying a generic setup from the internet is guaranteed to fail because you are managing a highly specific, local environment. Once you see your balcony as a mechanical system, you stop reacting to symptoms and you start designing around your limitations. First, you map your light. You track exactly where the shadows fall in the morning versus the afternoon, and you physically move your plants into the specific zones where they belong. Second, you fix your foundation. You replace the heavy dirt with a loose, well-draining potting mix, and you only use containers that have clear drainage holes at the bottom, so excess water can escape and oxygen can flow. Third, you adapt to your microclimate. You find your balcony's heat reflectors and wind tunnels, and you intentionally place tough, resilient plants right where those exact stresses hit hardest. When you do this, your metric for success shifts. The objective is not to force every single flower into a flawless bloom every day of the year. The real goal is stability. You want a sustainable system where the majority of your plants can simply live, grow, and adapt with minimal stress. Plants are honest. They simply reflect the conditions you provide. When you stop fighting the architecture and start working with the mechanics of your space, your balcony stops being a source of frustration. It becomes alive.